Title: The Dogman of Taylor Woods, Part 2. Like and subscribe for Part 3. Weeks passed. Paul settled into his new rhythm. Days of chopping firewood, cleaning the house, even repairing the old barn that leaned with age. Nights came and went, quiet and still, with no signs of the creature. The memory of that horrible smile, those burning amber eyes, had begun to fade into the back of his mind. He almost convinced himself it had been a hallucination. A trick of fear and shadows. Maybe the prayer worked. Maybe the oil around the doors and windows kept it out. Maybe the dogman had moved on, maybe. Then came the night that would shatter that fragile peace. It was late. Again. Paul was in the kitchen washing dishes when the power flickered, then died. The entire house dropped into silence. No hum of appliances, no wind outside. Just stillness. Paul grabbed his flashlight and Glock and moved to the living room where the rifle sat propped against the wall. Then he heard it. Not tapping this time, scraping. Slow, deliberate. Across the back door. Paul aimed his light toward the sound. A heavy silhouette moved just out of sight. Then the sound of claws on the roof. It's back, but this time it wasn't curious. It was hunting. A crash exploded from the rear of the house. Wood shattered. Glass fell like rain. Paul lifted the .45-70 and fired into the shadows. The recoil slammed his shoulder, but the creature was gone before the bullet even reached the wall. It was fast, unnaturally fast. He fired again toward the hallway where he saw a flicker of movement. The muzzle flashed in the darkness, echoing through the house like thunder. He couldn't get a good shot. It moved like smoke, dodging through blind spots, ducking just out of range. Paul backed into a corner, heart racing. The creature let out a low growl, long and guttural, like a warning. It stepped into the light for only a second. Tall, muscled, fur black as midnight, amber eyes glowing like twin lanterns. Paul raised the rifle, trembling. It lunged. In that moment, Paul closed his eyes and shouted, "In the name of Jesus, save me." Everything stopped. Silence fell like a hammer. When he opened his eyes, the dogman stood frozen mid-step, its face twisted in something close to confusion or pain. Then, without a sound, it turned, bolted through the wreckage of the broken door and vanished into the woods like a phantom. Paul dropped the rifle and collapsed to his knees. He prayed, and he didn't stop praying for hours. The next morning, Paul barely had time to repair the splintered frame of the back door before he drove out to see Enoch. The old man met him outside as if he'd been expecting him. Paul told him everything, every sound, every shot, every word of the prayer. Enoch listened in silence, jaw tight, eyes dark. "It's getting bolder," he muttered, testing the boundary. "Seeing how far it can go?" Paul nodded. "But when I prayed, really prayed, it left just like that." Enoch reached into his coat and pulled out a worn leather notebook. He handed it to Paul. "In here," he said, "are scriptures and prayers I've used all my life. Psalms. Words that drive out evil. These things, these dogmen, they don't just carry teeth and claws. They carry spirits, evil ones. And that's what gives them their strength." Paul flipped through the pages, trembling. The words were underlined, some smudged by water or maybe tears. "But listen to me close," Enoch continued. "They don't die easy and they don't forget. If it sees a crack in your faith, if it smells fear, anger, sin, it'll come back. Again and again." Paul took a breath. "So what do I do? Pray, keep your faith strong. Don't open the wrong doors, spiritually or otherwise. Don't dabble in darkness, stay in the light. And stay inside after dark." Paul looked down at the notebook. "I will." Enoch looked away, his eyes misting. "I just wish your granddaddy had listened like you do." "But what?" Paul asked, stepping closer. The old man's lips pressed together. He stayed silent, tears welled in his eyes. I'm sorry," he whispered, voice breaking. "That's not a story for today." Paul knew not to push. He nodded, tucked the notebook under his arm and left. That night, the wind picked up again. Paul sat in the same corner, rifle loaded, Glock at his side, Bible open. He didn't know when the creature would return. But he knew this time he'd be ready, in body and in spirit. To be continued. Like and subscribe for Part 3.